Hello, Neuse Little Podcast listeners. Allow me a moment to promote our new official Neuse Little Theater merchandise. This can be bought at any show we have, any show in the 50th season that you come see. You can go up to the merch table and ask the man or lady, and you can get your official NLT merch. Here's what we have. We have hats, toboggans, hoodies, t-shirts, long sleeve t-shirts, and we even have big and tall sizes. Just ask the person and they'll set you right up. We also have blankets, pins, keychains, stickers, tumblers, frosted pint glass, coffee mug, aluminum water bottle, backpack, and tote bags, etc. We have it all. Be sure to check out our special anniversary merchandise, including our t-shirt featuring all the shows of our historic 50th season. Thank you, and thanks for listening. Hey gang, this episode is dedicated to Carol Harper. Rest in peace. Hello, and welcome to Neuse Little Podcast. This is an audio presentation featuring the backstage antics and stories from your favorite log cabin located on the banks of the Neuse River in Smithfield, North Carolina. Please help us celebrate our 50th anniversary season by purchasing tickets on our website, neuselittletheater.org. Don't forget to like and subscribe on the various podcast platforms such as Apple Podcasts, Spotify, and YouTube. Now please enjoy the show. Good evening and welcome to Neuse Little Podcast. We have an excellent show for you this evening where we describe and talk to the cast of our fourth show of our 50th season here at Neuse Little Theater. Before we introduce them, though, some business. The show, there's only 2 available days to see this show because everything else is sold out, and it's Friday, April 11th at 8 o'clock and Saturday, April 12th at 8 o'clock. And you can look online to see if there are any available or any cancellations in those sold out shows for the other ones. We got over 100 for each show, so there's always a possibility of some cancellation. So just look on that website, www.neuselittletheater.org. We are here with the cast of Steel Magnolias. That is the famous play by Robert Harling. And it is a community theater darling. If you are a community theater and you haven't done Steel Magnolias, there is something wrong with you. Do you not like money? This has always been a very beloved show. It's an audience favorite. Indeed, the audience voted it in our 50th season, and they wanted to see it again. So that's what we're going to do. The show was originally off-Broadway. I was very surprised to learn that it has never been on Broadway. I'm sure a version of it has been, but it never debuted on Broadway during its initial run before the very famous movie starring Sally Field, Dolly Parton, and Julia Roberts. But just a little about the author before I introduce the cast, because I found it's very quick and I found it very interesting. Robert Harling was born in Dothan, Alabama. He graduated from Northwestern State University in, I looked this up, Natchez, I had to write it down, Natchez in Louisiana, and he obtained a Juris Doctor from Tulane University Law School. Although he didn't do anything with his law degree, he never pursued any more in his legal education. He moved to New York and became an actor, auditioning for bit parts and plays. And after the death of his young sister, Susan, in 1985, due to diabetes, Harling wrote a short story and adapted it into the play Steel Magnolias, which was produced off-Broadway in 1987. Harling also wrote the screenplay for the version of the play, the movie that was produced in 1989. And he also wrote screenplays for Soap Dish, The First Wives Club, Laws of Attraction, and he wrote and directed the sequel to Terms of Endearment. Anybody know Terms of Endearment? Mm-hmm. Yeah, The Evening Star. I thought that was very interesting because I've seen Terms of Endearment like I've seen Steel Magnolias because I was raised in a house with Southern women. So these movies were always on repeat. And I'll touch on a bit about that. I have seen Steel Magnolias more than any other live theatrical production. I've seen it about 5 or 6 times now. And I always enjoy it. I love seeing the different interpretations of the characters. I mean, they're pretty locked down in the script, but there's room to play. And I always remember great fun watching the movie, and I remember one of the first performances I've ever seen. I'm like, oh, she's amazing. Was Sally Field when she does her breakdown in the cemetery. That scene, it was one of my first kind of brushes with what great acting could be. So let's introduce our cast, our group of great actors. All right. Across the table from me is...
I'm Elizabeth Armstrong, and I'm playing Shelby Eatonton.
All right.
Kaitlyn Tarley, playing Annelle.
Hi, I'm Theresa Rose. I'm playing Clary Belcher.
Nancy Gibbs, Weezer Boudreaux.
Kim O'Callahan, and I'm playing Malin Eatonton.
Michelle Dawes, and I'm playing Truvy.
All right, thank you guys for coming here. Let's talk about the play. Now, as we said, we've done this show a couple of times before at NLT. We've probably mentioned that on other podcasts. I think this is the third time we've done it. Third time, number 3. But each iteration is different, and especially the set and costumes and taste change throughout the year. So it's always a new experience. But what's it like? This is your first show here with us, Kim?
It is.
So tell us where you hail from and what brought you to Neuse Little Theater.
So I live in Fayetteville, which is a little bit of a drive, but I always said I would come to any theater for the right show, and this was the right show. What brought me to Neuse is I'd actually auditioned for a couple of shows earlier. I think one of them was Unnecessary Farce.
Yes.
Was that it? Yes, yeah. Couldn't do it because I had a scheduling conflict, and then I just kept my eye open looking for shows that really spoke to me, and this happens to be one of, every actress's bucket list role really is Malin Eatonton, so that's what brought me here.
What do you do during the day?
I am an instructional designer, which nobody knows what that means. So it just means that I design and deliver training courses for the company that I'm with.
Okay. All right. And you, ma'am, Michelle, please tell us about your role and tell us what brought you here to Neuse Little Theater. I'm always very curious to learn how the new people got here.
Well, I discovered the role of Truvy. Well, I'd seen Still Magnolia growing up a couple of times, so I'm familiar with the film. But I just happened to be scrolling through social media, and I happened to see the event that had been posted, and a few days, maybe 3 or 4 days before I actually saw that, I had been debating whether or not I wanted to start looking for roles. Mm-hmm. I had done it in the past, but every time back in the past, most of the time I would have to stop because there'd be some sort of a conflict, so I couldn't move forward. And so I had kind of taken a pause for a while. And so I happened just to be 3 or 4 days later scrolling through, looking at something totally different, and I saw that, and I started reading it, and I think I saw the word newbies or something about newcomers or something, and I said, I think that's going to work.
We love new people here at Neuse Little Theater, and as it's always been that way, but really as of late, we're just populated with newcomers, and we're always welcoming new people here. It's one of the things we pride ourselves on. We try not to be too cliquish. And, every community theater has their own bête noirs and weird way of doing things, but we really make an effort to be welcoming to new people. Is this your first play?
This is my second.
Okay, what was your first play?
The first play that I was in was called It's Not Nice to Be a Bully. It's based off of not a novel, but a book written by a child author, and that was performed in Rocky Mount.
Okay.
Yes, at a theater in Rocky Mount I think it's been 3 years ago now.
Interesting. All right. Okay, across the table from me, is this your first play at Neuse?
This is not. I was previously in Till Death Do Us Part. However,
okay.
I was Elizabeth Lovett then, but have since gotten married, so now it's Armstrong.
Okay. And why did you want to come back? Was it all for the Shelby of it?
Well, I do love this theater. I love the audition process because I don't know. I guess I'm a freak of nature. I love a cold read. I just love a good cold read. I feel like most actors are like, No, I want to prepare something. I don't. I want a cold read. So I love the auditions here. I have so much fun, and I love the theater. It's got a very like hometown vibe, if that makes any sense. Just like a very nice historic space. We don't have all the like flashy tech, so the shows always just speak for themselves, and I really like that. And I haven't done a show in forever, since Till Beth Do Us Part, but Shelby is absolutely one of my dream roles. So I saw it, and I've, like everyone else here, I mean, I think I've literally watched the movie 13 times. So I just had to come audition, even though I haven't been doing theater much lately, but this one was worth it for me.
I want to go back to that thing you said about cold reading. Like, why? No, I mean, I like it. I guess, is it to the spontaneity of it all, whatever happens in the moment?
I do like the spontaneity. I like the freedom to make a strong choice. So I feel like in the moment, what I feel like directors are looking for in cold reads are your instincts. So I like looking at something and within a second being able to be like, this is the choice I'm making for this character. And I feel like that's the most authentic read that you can get on them, because it's what exactly jumps off the page as soon as you read it.
I mean, I like that. That's what, I mean, if I audition, that's what I do. I rarely, I might read the script beforehand, but as far as like making any actual choices, I always just like, I'm like, okay, this is what makes sense for this character in this moment right now. And that might be the correct, what they're looking for, or it might not be what they're looking for, but I always say that during auditions. I'm like, make a choice, make a choice, do something, show me something, All right, moving on to, all right, what's your character's name again? I'm sorry. Anel, the Daryl Hannah role, the lady who loses her contact. Yes.
Correct. Yes, that's the one.
So,
not in the show,
is this your first show here at Neuse?
It is not. So actually, but the 50th season is. So The Wizard of Oz was my first show with the Neuse. Not my first show in general, but with the Neuse Little Theater, and it was fabulous. For all of those, you can't see us high-fiving and putting our fists in the air, but it was fabulous. If you didn't see it, you missed out.
That's totally happening.
But yeah, so this is technically my second show with Neuse Little Theater.
Who'd you play in? What was your part in Wizard of Oz?
A very prominent and well-known role, Tree Number 1, and a beautician in the City of Oz.
Yes. I remember Katharine Hepburn playing that on Broadway back in the day.
Yeah, exactly.
It was one of her most famous roles. So you excel at playing scenery, do you?
Yes, absolutely. Trees specifically, because I am a nature girl at heart, so it just kind of...
Remember a terrible
shows.
conflict with the director. I'm like, that director doesn't understand me or the role of Farmer Number 3. Just doesn't get it. What I'm trying to bring, anyways. But so you're playing Anel now, which is a very broad role. You have a lot of good moments for comedy and stuff like that. But she's also kind of a redemptive character. She starts out kind of rough, and she starts on this journey. Tell me about that.
Yeah, so that is probably the thing that I was most excited about with this role, is just, it may not be, I don't want to say quite as well. There are no small roles, only small actors, as we all know. However, some might say that it seems like a lesser role just because it's not Shelby, but it does have the opportunity to show those different levels. So as she's traveling through the story, the character building of how she starts off as the new girl in town and kind of evolves into going through these different stages of life, experiences, and how she kind of ends up at the end, of course, without giving too much away, because you have to come see the show.
I bet a good chunk of our audience probably knows how it ends, but that's interesting. Not everyone's gonna make it, including this microphone. I almost just knocked it over. But talk about Anel's kind of, you have to act, obviously everybody does in this play, but you also do a lot of reacting to like situations that are happening. You're kind of in the background before a lot going.
Right, so not necessarily lines, but showing a reaction to
which I think
what
is
everyone else is saying.
Just as important as acting, as being an active listener and reacting to what the actor is saying.
For sure. If you're not staying in character in the background, pulls as much away from the scene as those that are actually speaking. So.
Right. Theresa,
Yes.
you are playing
Clary Belcher,
yes. The rich lady who owns like the radio station, and she's like the nice one. She's the good cop to Weezer's bad cop.
Well, it's a little iffy sometimes on that. The way Clary, the Olympia Dukakis played Clary, she was more of the good cop. But the way it's written, we're pretty much both good cop, bad cops. Reading the script, I just got a much bigger feel for who Clary is. They just gloss over the fact that she lost her husband just a few months ago.
Yeah.
She is also in her own growth pattern and learning to do different things on her own and buying businesses on her own. So I see a lot more growth in Clary by reading the script than just watching the movie.
Oh, of course. That's interesting. You touched on something there that I was wondering about. This show's one of the main themes is how people deal with loss. And I was thinking, I think, if I'm not mistaken, hasn't every character in the play lost something vital to them by the end of the play? And we know what Malin lost. I guess Shelby kind of lost maybe her innocence.
She loses her independence.
There you go.
Because that's the most important thing in the world to Shelby, and you watch slowly the delayed grief of Malin and then also the delayed grief of Shelby as she goes from being independent woman about to be out the house, married, for the first time ever, to by the last scene that she's in, she's completely dependent on her mom.
Yeah.
Again.
So what does
Back to Clary.
Yes, I'm going to get back to Clary, but what does Annelle lose?
Well, I would think that it's maybe not quite as spot on, but she has lost what was the life that she knew. And she kind of has to reinvent herself. Maybe not in the same way as the other characters, but she has lost her past life and has had to, obviously, lost later on. Initially.
Yeah, she has to start over. She's
Yes.
lost that previous self.
Yeah.
Well, real quick, Michelle, what would has Truvy lost? Isn't there some deal with her son? Isn't her son in trouble or something?
Well, in the play, her sons, they are both leaving home. So you have one going off to college and you have another that's going off to work away from home in another state. And so it just seems to be her and her couch potato husband. So I feel like she's having to deal with that, get used to that, and even in a later sense, she kind of loses a nail.
Yeah. Interesting. I'm glad we picked up on that. That's very interesting. But back to Clarice.
Clary, not Clarice.
Clary, yes, not the Silence of the Lambs character. Clary. I'm just nailing these names.
They're tricky.
Tell me more about. You mentioned that she had lost her husband, and they kind of gloss over that, but that's a very traumatic thing. And how does she keep going? Because she always seems like the most amiable one, or like the train that just keeps moving.
Well, she talks about how much just a great time that she and her husband had, and I think that's her key. Is she depends on humor, and throughout this whole play, she needs to laugh, and she needs to see the things in life that are humorous, and that's how she deals with it.
Okay, Nancy, tell me about Weezer.
You didn't ask me what Weezer lost.
I was about to. I was about to.
Dog's hair.
And I, for the record, I do think Weezer has lost a lot. I just don't think she talks about it as much as everybody else.
Oh, you're going to make me cry.
Weezer's not whiny.
No, but I think Weezer, by the end of the show, loses her edge. Look, my eyeballs are weepy. Because she's got a new relationship.
Yes.
So it makes her a little softer at the end.
Right.
But she's like the big bear that from the outside is, the threat and the grouchiness and whatever, but is a marshmallow on the inside.
And I know you,
just like me.
I know you relish playing this role because it's so fun to play mean, and you get all the best lines.
I know, and my husband told me I need to back off.
You're being too mean?
Yes, I'm being
Absolutely
a little bit grouchy, a little bit too honest, a little bit too, frank.
Okay.
You mean with him?
Yes.
Yes. is this an Otis thing, or is this something that he wants you to work on in a play?
No, he's like, you need to stop being so mean to me.
Oh, so you're too into it.
Yes.
Oh, I got you.
She's going method.
Yes. The full Shirley MacLaine haircut.
Like when I say things like, when I asked you to bring the Chromebook downstairs, I meant to do it today, not on a day of the calendar, in the next month.
Yes, dear.
Yes,
dear.
So.
Okay, interesting. You've been in another cast of Steel Magnolias, right? No, you haven't. Okay,
nope, I didn't even see it. We were on vacation when the hut got hit by lightning.
Yes. Briefly, tell us about that.
Well, I was around. All I know is they were in rehearsals, and there was a storm, and the chimney got hit by lightning, and the bricks kind of fell into the fireplace. The girls were on stage very close to what happened, and we got a lot of press coverage.
Like that.
And
like
the
that.
show went on.
Is this a bad omen? Since it's like the 50s.
Well, I was just thinking,
Steel Magnolias.
Nancy mentioned the press, and I'm just imagining the headline: God does not approve of Steel Magnolias production.
Lightning strikes twice.
I've already looked ahead at the weather report. It's going to be really
clear.
lovely opening weekend.
Because weather reports 10 to 14 days out
They
are
never
always
change.
accurate. Yep, never change.
They take it from a recent
You're angering the theater gods, Theresa. Okay, so let's talk about Malin just a little bit. We know what she loses. Anybody that's seen the play knows, but let's talk about her more as a three-dimensional character, not as just someone who's always telling Shelby not to do something because
to
she's
drink her juice.
Yeah, because she's overprotective because of Shelby's diabetes and stuff like that.
You mean you want to talk a little bit about what makes Malin?
Sure.
Okay. Yeah, I think you're right in that everybody just kind of sees her as she's very quiet, pretty much, and she tends to sit back and sort of watch what's going on with all of her more, very vocal, dynamic friends. And so everybody thinks of Malin as having that one scene. If anybody's seen the movie, which probably everybody has, knows exactly the one I'm talking about. But there's so much more to her. She's a society leader. I think she's very prominent in society. They come from a very good family. I think she either married well or she's of that upper echelon in society. She's educated. She is working at the Mental Guidance Center, and so she obviously has a career as well. But she's managed, so she's kind of like the ideal woman in terms of she's got her career, she's got her kids. She seems to have everything together, and so. I think the challenge of playing her is to not be boring, because you could kind of think, well, she doesn't really say, she doesn't have she has a couple of great lines, but she doesn't have all of the best lines the way Weezer and Clary do, She doesn't have that real bubbly warmth that Truvy has. She obviously has her daughter, but so she's got to be a separate person apart from Shelby, and I think that's really the challenge of playing this part.
Okay, no, I like that because you're totally right. If you played a certain way, Malin could be boring, or just the batting ram for all the jokes,
Exactly.
Like she's setting them all up and they're hitting them. Weezer's the one with the lines hitting them, or But let's talk more about Shelby's dynamic, because I kind of like your approach to it, because this is kind of a meaty role where you get to play all right. That reminds me, just real quick. Sorry,
Squirrel.
Squirrel. This script by Robert Harling is a great script, and it'll continue to be a great script. And the Jones Hope Wooten, I'm going to say it, I might cut it out later. Every single one of their scripts is a rip-off of Steel Magnolias.
I do feel that way too.
And they're never as good. The Dixie's now known as the Sweet Delilah Swim Club.
Oh, I did not know that.
Red Velvet Cake Wars.
Say Dixie.
Savannah sipping.
Yes, Savannah Sipping Society. Those are all those are all rip-offs of Steel Magnolias, and
Maybe inspired by is what you meant.
You should hire her to be your PR.
I know. Sorry, but let's get back to Shelby and kind of bounce off what Kim was saying about playing Malin and how that applies to Shelby.
Yeah, well, I had the same struggle with Shelby. It's easy to let her be kind of boring. Have her come on the stage and have one diabetic meltdown, and then that's her character development for the whole thing. But speaking as a girl with a Southern mother, there's so much depth in those relationships, just because I think the South is so hard on women. Like, the expectation is to have your kids and have your job and have your husband and your house and you cook perfect food, and to never ever have a breakdown, never show that you're upset about how hard it is to manage everything, never be honest about it. And mothers often press that onto daughters, who then become mothers and press that onto daughters. My mom is great. I love her so much. Not talking about you, mommy. But I see that in a lot of relationships with my friends. And I mean, we do have that in our family where we're very Southern. Like, I can't leave out the house without, you're going to wear that? Don't you want to put on a little bit of blush?
And see,
no, Mom.
I'm not Southern. I'm a Michigander. Like, so just part of the challenge of the role is also, what does it mean to be a Southern woman? I've got to have that in the back of my mind. Would a Southern woman act like this? Would she cross her legs like this? Would she speak like this? Because, you know, it was a bit of a cultural shock when I moved down here. I mean, I've been down here a while now, but, like, I still don't consider myself a Southerner. So.
I want to keep talking about the Southern thing. I'm going to ask you next about that. But there's a moment in the play that I don't want to forget this, but I want to ask you about. I want your opinion. I think one of the most important scenes in the play is when Shelby reveals that she's pregnant.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
Now, I don't know how you're playing it, and I really don't want to know, because I'll see it on stage. But do you feel in that moment that she's not happy? She's not happy about it. Do you think it's because that she knows that kid probably will kill her?
I think she's so conflicted at that moment because, like, she's so thrilled. I mean, I think every mother wants to see her. I'm not a parent, so I don't know. I'm just speaking from my other friends. Wants to see their daughter, you know, have a grandbaby and all of that. But then she terrifies her. Absolutely terrifies her. So I don't know if she's. I think that fear comes out as anger.
Yeah.
As opposed to really being truly anger. She's just scared. Because she's worked so hard to keep Shelby healthy, and Shelby just seems to every opportunity just be throwing it away.
Right.
To be perfectly honest, and this could be a very
speak your mind. If
this is an opinion that most people aren't going to agree with, and I'm so sorry, Liz. I find what Shelby did is extremely selfish.
I agree.
So
I kind of agree.
But
also,
age,
is it the immaturity?
It is, exactly.
Yeah.
I say, given her age, you kind of understand. I used to teach high schoolers, and I know she's not in high school, but that young age where, you know, everything is so very black and white. And so, yeah, she made an incredibly selfish decision.
Right.
But it can be forgiven because of how old she is.
When it's like Liz mentioned, I mean, part of it is the pressure from society. She wants to live up to those standards that have been set for her, even if they haven't been pushed specifically by her mother.
Right.
And
right. Because
no,
go ahead.
Shelby feels, I think, a huge pressure from Jackson.
Yeah.
Because there is this kind of thing where, like, in Jackson's her husband, for anyone listening, but I think there's this huge thing in, I don't know why people think this helps, but they say, well, the marriage is struggling, so have a baby.
Ugh,
but all that
works.
does is expedite the issues that you were already having.
Right.
So I don't
that
have
line
kids.
she has, yeah.
I don't have kids. But I think that is a huge factor in why Shelby is, like, throw all caution to the wind, because Shelby she's sick, and that takes over a huge portion of her life, and she hates it, so she clings on to every other thing she has. She's beautiful. She's a wife. She's young. She wants to be free with all of that in mind, but she can't. And so then when something comes up against it and is like, no, you can't do this, she's like, well, screw that. I'm doing it anyways. And I think it's so important to her to hold on to the fact that she is a wife and a good one, that she's like, okay, I'll give you this too.
Were you about to say? Yeah, go ahead.
One of the things that came to mind almost instantly is that I believe Shelby just has a desire to be as normal as possible. Shelby knows what's wrong with her. And even with her mother being as much of a wonderful mom and doing so many things for her, in the reality, nobody is feeling it and experiencing that like Shelby. So she wants the chance to be able to do things that other women get to do that other people get to do. Kind of throw caution to the wind. There's parts of the play, I can't tell it, but like she wants to be able to do those things because she's had to live her life so cautiously every day, all the time. She knows that there's risk, but maybe for her is if I do the right thing, bad things still happen because of the condition. But so I may as well just live a little and see how it goes.
Yeah.
I'd rather have 30 minutes of wonderful than a lifetime
Right.
of nothing special.
And her mother, Malin,
Wow, that was really deep.
I know, guys.
Over there yourself.
I came up with it.
Malin makes a comment in the play about how Shelby likes normal, the normalcy.
Normality is very important.
So, and I feel like that is not just for the moment or that particular scene. I think that's for her life because she has not had a normal life.
Interesting. I love that. I love that. I love it. We're bringing it all full circle. I always feel like Truvy's like, she always wants to like make everybody comfortable and. Yeah, you
Truvy
are. I already
is-
saw it in your face. You already know what I'm talking about.
Truvy is the peacemaker, the mediator of sorts. Her salon is the center point of all of the characters, their lives. I mean, because most of them live in different homes and things like that, but they all come together there. Even Anel, she doesn't meet them anywhere else. She comes to this place where you have these ladies, these relationships, these friendships. They have a way of taking care of each other. And she comes to the one place, she has a need, but the need that she comes there for is for a job, is for money, but she needs so much more than that. And so I believe that Truvy's character, she provides just a central point for all of those characters, even Truvy herself.
A refuge. A port in a storm.
What I find so interesting, and this is going to be a spoiler alert for anybody who hasn't actually seen the play, is that, and only seen the movie, is that it only takes place in the salon. Like, there are no men in the play.
The men are referenced a lot, but you never see them.
And they're very integral to the story, but you never see them. It's all in the salon, and I did not know that because I had never seen the play. I'd only ever seen the movie. So when I read through it the first time, I'm like, so where's the cemetery? Where's the, park? Where it's not there. It's all in the salon. So I think that's fascinating.
It's about time for you guys to start your rehearsal, and we're coming up on 40 minutes. So I got one last question for you guys. Give you a second to think about it. We talked about what each character has lost. Think about, I'm going to ask each one of you what each character has gained. And don't be like corny and say friends. Think about it. Think about what your character specifically has gained in the play. Who wants to go first?
I will. I'll go Clary.
Okay.
Theresa playing Clary. As we mentioned in the beginning, she'd lost her husband not too many months before this. So she, as opposed to Shelby, she gained a lot of her independence. She gained the knowledge that she can run a business. Even though she had a great life and she loved her husband and she's a good old Southern woman. But she gained her own independence.
We get the distinct idea that, you know what, she's going to be okay.
She's going to be just fine.
She's going to be okay. All right. I want to do Shelby last. Next.
I'll go.
Okay.
So Weezer lost her edge and gained some softness. Owen is a blast from the past, and she lets him back in. After 2 husbands and 3 children, she comes back around to him, and he makes her feel special. And that's what Weezer needs.
Okay.
So, Malin, obviously she has this enormous loss, but I think she gains, I don't know if it's as much as gaining as she realizes that she's gotten the freedom now to give herself permission and forgiveness to be able to just let go, to lose control, to just let it all out. I think she's been so wrapped up tight and expected to have that perfect image of the perfect Southern woman for so long, and she just doesn't ever give her permission to just let it go, and she finally does.
Okay.
I think Truvy has gained a certain outlook that has helped her navigate her different losses. It seems to me that her character, there were different moments throughout the script where when it would come down to her addressing that she's about to lose someone close to her, she had to find a way, instead of just wallowing or letting it destroy her countenance. She had to find a way to, okay, so how can I look at this? Where is the optimism? Because this is happening anyway. So where's the silver line? I think
Silver lining.
Silver lining.
Yeah.
Where's the silver lining in this situation? And ultimately, I think that helps her to be able to tunnel through that.
In the script, does she get another beauty shop, or is that just the thing in the movie?
Yeah,
It's a movie thing.
Oh, okay. It's a chain. It's a chain. It's one of my favorite lines. Okay. Anel.
Me. I would say that Annelle gains her sense of self and stability, so kind of exploring the different facets of who she thinks she is and kind of landing at a spot where she feels confident in all of those facets kind of working together and creating who she is as a person.
And can I add something to that?
Go ahead.
I think she gains community.
Oh, yeah.
Because
Well, I
look at
wasn't
how
supposed to say friendships.
Surrogate family.
It's a rebranding.
Yeah. And lastly, we have Shelby, but I'm going to go ahead and answer that for you. Shelby gains angel wings.
Wow. I had an answer.
I'm just kidding.
Wait, what?
I had a real answer.
All right, go ahead. Go ahead.
Goodness. I think Shelby gains the life she always wanted, even if it's just for a brief time. It's just for like really a year, 2 years. But as much as it is like a societal push, I think Shelby really does want to be a mom, and she really does want to be a wife and do it all. And for just a brief moment, she had all of that, and it was perfect for her. And I think that's what she gains. And I don't know, you can't ask her by the end of it, but I think she would say it was all worth it because she got to have her baby and she got to hold him and know him.
That's beautiful. I'm really glad we that's where the conversation went, because that was kind of like a good full circle thing. I always like it when it works out like that.
Right.
Thank you, ladies. I'm going to let you get to your rehearsal now. Thank you for doing this. Thank you for taking time out of your day. I know it's getting to crunch time. You got Tech Week next week. Is that correct? It's coming down. You got a lot.
Pressure.
Yeah, you got a lot of people to entertain. It's going to be full houses, and they're going to love it. They're going to love it. And for those that haven't been on stage at the Hut with that many people and that type of anticipation, the atmosphere in the room changes. It really does. You can just feel it in the air. So I can't wait to see you guys in action, because I know it's going to be really good. Thank you to Stephanie for sharing your cast. She was so kind to let us go ahead and do this a little bit later than we usually do and cut into your rehearsal time. So thank you to Stephanie for that. Remember, you only got 2 options as of right now to come see Steel Magnolias at Neuse Little Theater, part of our historic 50th season at the Hut. And that is April 11th, Friday. That's a Friday. And that is at 8 p.m. And then Saturday, April 12th. And it may be possible for you to get into one of the other shows if you keep checking our website. Just keep hitting refresh and see if anybody's canceled. And almost always we have some form of cancellations the night of. I don't think I've ever been here when there wasn't like somebody who didn't show up, or somebody who left a ticket, or somebody that got sick. There's a very good chance that if you show up at Will Call, you'll get a ticket. But just the best way to do it is to check the website. Promise. And if you are looking to audition for our 5th and final show of the 50th anniversary season, Sex Please We're 60, that is going to be on April 7th and April 8th. That's a Monday and a Tuesday. So come out and audition for this really funny show. We're looking for a lot of older people with this show. It's an older skewed cast. But just check the website. The character descriptions are up. And as always, enjoy your community theater, attend plays, attend live theater, attend symphonies, support the arts, because we need it, folks. We really do. All right. For Neuse Little Podcast, I'm Matt Gore, and that's me, Toole.
Yep.
Let's get out of here. All right. Have fun rehearsing, guys.